know what really makes us mad? Is wasting money on CDs with only one or two good songs.
Yeah. Tell them about punk.
What's up, posers? Welcome to Funk Lotto Pod. I am your co-host, Justin Hensley.
I am your other co-host, Dylan Hensley.
And joining us today is Susan Plante, the singer and guitarist of Charlotte band Faye. Susan, how's it going?
Good. Hi, guys.
We previously had your bandmate, Sarah Blumenthal, also of the band All Right, on with us last year. And I asked her way back then if she thought you'd be interested in being a guest on the show, and she was like, yeah, totally, go ask. And then it took me a year to actually ask you.
I'm intimidating, I get it.
She's too cool.
The way I book this show is just like, I don't know, just ask this person over here. Oh, they said no. Okay, well, I'm going to just go ask an old friend that we've already had on 10 times. So.
Wait a minute. So, like, I'm sloppy seconds after everybody else said no?
No, because then it would just be someone we've already talked to 10 times to be on here today. So.
Well,
if I get rejected, I go find someone that I've already had on the show.
I know this asshole will say yes. I'm gonna go ask them again.
She didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
Faye put out a self-titled EP in 2016. There's two things about that. One, I'm surprised it has been 4 years already since that came.
Me too. Not really. Yeah.
I remember when it was new and being announced, I was like, oh yeah, this is really cool. And then I looked at the date this week and I was like, what? No, that was 4 years ago. How?
Yeah. We went through a lot of drummers. we really wanted to Spinal Tap the situation, but yeah, we our first drummer had to focus on her career, and then we went through a couple, and now we have Thomas playing drums for us, and it's great, and we just recorded with him, so our first full length that should be out soon, hopefully.
Yeah, it's funny. I was listening to the EP, and then I was like, oh, I guess I should go back and listen to their earlier stuff. And then I was like, oh, there is no other.
That's all we've done. And what's so crazy is we have tons of stuff. We just had to get into the studio and record it, which meant getting the drummer, the right drummer lined up and getting everything set up. And then we just did that in January, and we're all stoked on it. And then this pesky little pandemic hit. So we'll see if we even remember how to play our songs. Who knows?
Well, you got a year and a half to get ready. So,
Well, yeah, a year and a half is going to feel like 5 years.
Yeah, that is the craziest thing. It feels like the days are going slowly, but quickly at the same time. It's very bizarre.
how many solo bedroom records we're gonna have by the end of 2020.
Who would do that? I would do that. I've totally been doing that. I'm actually sitting in the room. I've slowly been trying to make a little recording studio right now. And I think Sarah and I have some ideas we're going to work on, just some covers we're just going to do and stuff like that, just in the meantime.
Yeah, it's going to be all SoundCloud rappers and then just bedroom pop.
But that's great. That's that. There's your segue. That's totally early mid 90s stuff right there. You know what I mean? Like that total DIY feeling of music again.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess we could jump into the show since you mentioned the 90s right there. So, we originally, well, let me lay out the premise of the show. So, this is only like our 5th time we've done this show this way because we changed our format slightly. So, the premise of this show is that we assign our guest a year and then they go and pick an album in the punk, hardcore, emo, or punk adjacent genres to make us listen to and talk about. So, we originally assigned you the year 1997. But then, after you made your selection, I started doing research on our album and realized that it actually came out in 1996. So, we're actually talking about 1996 today.
Loving is what I got. I said, remember that. Loving is what I got. I said, remember that.
What's helpful is it's a lot of the same bands in both those years. So
yeah, so I like to let Dylan start off the year talk. So what else came out in 1996 that we should be talking about, Dylan?
Should be talking about? Well, 1996 was the year of a lot of hardcore, a lot of emo, and a lot of blues punk, which I think we'll get into in a minute. But
which is a term I've never heard before until I started looking at this, by the way. Blues punk.
I think the biggest straightforward punk records that you would think of for this year would be like Everything Sucks by Descendents. What else? 4 a.m. by Avail.
4 a.m. Friday.
4 a.m. Friday, yeah. Those are the ones that jump out to me. And like Life in General by MXPX. That's another big one. I don't know if we should be talking about those. Maybe the Avail one.
Oh, Avail. I'm from Richmond, by the way, so.
So, how many times have you seen Avail?
0.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen Tim Barry?
I was not cool when I lived in Richmond. I didn't do anything cool, but I never was I feel like I'm going to get disowned by all of my Richmond friends, but I was never a big Avail fan. I don't know. It didn't do it for me. Sorry.
96 also had Propagandi's Less Talk More Rock, which is the last Propaganda record with John K. Samson on it. I was listening to that record today and I was like, oh yeah, I forget he was in this band. It's weird to hear him playing fast music. I'd say probably one of the biggest punk records in 96 was Social Distortion's White Light, White Heat, White Trash.
Mm.
Do you have any feelings on Social Distortion?
So, like I said, I did notes and I just put, everything you brought up, I'm like, I didn't like that. But I just put a frowny face next to Social Distortion. I think I'm more of like the post-punk hardcore kind of kid.
Well, there's plenty of that. So
there is plenty of that.
What did you like from 96 that's not our main album?
Portraits of Past.
Yeah. I want to talk about them for a second. That Portraits of Past record is like a retroactive, like...
Yeah.
I feel like they came back in like the late 2000s and then everybody's like, oh yeah, this band's really good. And so...
Yeah, which is weird. Because they only put out I didn't realize, but they only put out this full length and they
Yeah.
had like, I think they might have had a couple of EPs, but I don't know. It's just that sound is just like,
Oh, Cypress Dust Witch came out in 2009.
wow.
I have that EP. It's really good.
Is it?
That I did not realize that there was that large of a gap between the first, well, the only album and that EP.
Is it the same? Is it the same guys though, or did they switch some of their members?
It's very likely that there's some changed members.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure though.
But the way that album starts is just like, oh man, it's setting you up for just like, what the hell am I going to be listening to? It's so like, I don't know. That's a great album with a lot of great riffs. And let me see, I said, oh my God, this bassist. Oh wait, no, that was for a different one. But still, oh no, I wrote fucking brutal. Album opener, oh my God. This drummer, oh my God. I have a thing for drum. I want to learn drums really badly. That's my next instrument. So I pay attention to the drummers.
I read an article that said you're a classically trained pianist.
That's what I went to college for, but didn't finish. Yes. And I tried to be in bands playing piano, but being classically trained since I was 5, I'm too like on the nose, like perfect. Like I tried to actually switch to jazz as a major, and I couldn't do it because I couldn't go off of the metronome, like off the beat, off the ones. So much later in life, I decided to just teach myself guitar and not teach myself the right way. So I literally don't know most of the chords I'm playing. I didn't want to know that. I wanted to just kind of like, feel it and do it that way. So now I'm like, I want to learn all of the instruments.
Well, it kind of comes across in your music because I listened to the EP and I was like, and then I read that article and I was like, what? Like, I'm not going to say, your music's not sloppy at all, but it's not like the preciseness of classical piano.
That's why I actually really want it, and that was the only way I could think to do it on any instrument, because I wanted, as a girl growing up, I played piano and I would watch, the cool guy bands play, and instead of being like, that's cool, I should learn guitar, I spent the whole time going, why doesn't anybody ask me to learn to play? Like, I feel like a lot of women might say that. You just expected someone to just be like, you look like you should play guitar and start a band. So anyway, much later in life, I was like, I think I'll just do this. And I like sloppy guitar. I mean, I never like the preciseness. I don't like big, long guitar solos. It just doesn't appeal to me. I think it's so much cooler when it sounds more real, more like you're there and less precise. I don't know how else to put it.
More organic, maybe?
Yeah.
Want to have a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Not,
it's funny,
I have studied this and am well trained and prepared.
Dude, yeah. Learning something to that level just kind of not ruins it, but it just changes. It changes it. I've just recently started playing piano a lot again, actually. In fact, I think Sarah and I might kind of explore that a little bit too. But it's just completely different. And it's cooler to play an instrument that I don't have full control over. So you got that kind of roller coaster ride feeling when you play it. It's like, oh, this could go down a place that I'm not prepared for this. So it's different. Drums are different.
Yeah. The irony is then a lot of those guys later will be like, I'm going to learn a little bit of piano for my...
Do you know how many people have asked me to teach them piano and I refuse to teach adults? I just will not do it. I'm like, you won't have the patience because I will only teach you the way I learned, and nobody has the fucking patience for that. I only had the patience for it because I was 5 and I didn't really have a say in the matter.
Well, it's because like most of the adult musicians, especially in like the punk and like indie scene, learned how to play guitar just by reading tabs. So it's like, now learn this precise way of playing piano. Like, not quite the same.
See, and I don't even know how to, well, no, I kind of know how to read tabs now, but that took me a while. Like, a while. I usually I do it by ear more than anything else, even figuring stuff out. Yeah, but I kind of do that on piano too. Sight reading is hard. I don't know. Man, I just band nerded right there and talked about speed reading. Sorry.
What's some other records that came out in '96? Sleater-Kinney put out "Call the Doctor,"
Yes.
and Bikini Kill also put out "Reject All American,"
Mm-hmm.
and those are my favorite records by both of those bands. So,
Yeah?
I know. I don't know if it's really a popular opinion, but I loved "Reject All American" the most out of the. Bikini Kill's discography is kind of weird anyway because there's so many like random EPs and everything.
Yeah.
But there's something about that record that I just really connected with more than the other stuff. And then same for like Call the Doctor. I know a lot of people love this record, but then I don't know. There's a couple other ones that are all. Yeah, that's the other big one.
Do you think maybe? Well, no. I'm the interviewee. I just wonder if it's like a timing issue when people hear albums. You know what I mean? Like if you heard that album in a specific time and you were in a specific like place mentally, that just made it speak to you more.
Maybe.
It's the same band, you know? And it's typically usually kind of the same sound.
Yeah.
I thought that when I listened to when just doing the two different Refused albums was kind of like that. Because the Shape of Punk to Come just I heard it at a certain time in my life where I needed to hear it. But listening to this other one that came out in 97/96, it's fucking better. I like it better. It's really good.
Well, since you spoiled what record we're talking about today.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry.
It's in the title of the episode. He always wants to have a big reveal, and everyone already knows.
The only reason anyone downloaded it is because it says Refused or The Guest. So it's never like, well, which one are they gonna pick? It's impossible to download it without knowing what we're talking about. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Refused, songs to fan the flames of discontent.
But before we do that, I do want to just throw out, you mentioned, you had asked me what we should be talking about. I do want to tell you that what my actual favorite records are from this year, and then we can do it.
Well, now we got to backtrack.
Yeah, we're backtracking. Because it's on my mind. It's been on my mind all day. Do You Know Who You Are by Texas Is the Reason. She's incredible. I love that band.
The band is so good.
Jawbox by Jawbox, also incredible.
Yep.
I think that's my favorite Jawbox record.
It's up there.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a weird choice, but there's something about it that I just really like.
I liked their '94 album a lot.
Is that Special Sweetheart?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one too. Those two are the two I listen to. I don't really go back and listen to the earlier stuff that often.
Texas Is the Reason. The one of the bands on this list that I had never heard of, and I think they're Japanese, was, I don't know if you guys have heard of them or listened to them, the Bloodthirsty Butchers.
I saw that.
I've seen the name before.
You need to look them up. Like, God, I watched them playing live. They are so good. They were so tight. I don't know if they're still even a band, but it was really interesting. They were really good. They kind of, I'm trying to find my notes. They're just, they're good. Check them out. I don't think they're on like Spotify or anything, but
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That record's not on Spotify. They have some other stuff. I didn't listen to those, but yeah, that was one I was like, weird. I've never heard of this band.
It was like up there in the first.
Really well reviewed.
Yeah, but they're really good. That Texas Is the Reason album though is like, God, that sound, and who else is on here that kind of has that same sound? I'm sorry, I'm getting confused between the 96 and the 97 list that I went.
Sensefield put out Building in 96, and they're the other Revelation emo band.
Oh, Christie Front Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that too.
that's such a good record. It's just like that sound, that like, which I never knew it was considered, well, as they have it written out, Midwest emo, but just that kind of, I don't know, the emo sound and that, like in the early to mid 90s was just such a bittersweet sound, you know? Like it changed. I feel like everything changed a lot once 98 hit, sound-wise.
So you've noticed that too.
Well, there was a switch, did it get more, like a little more mainstream or something? Like it just kind of blew up a little bit, and I don't know. It just felt like it changed.
Is it because of Mineral, maybe?
I don't know.
Or are they in 97?
I don't know.
Yeah. I feel, yeah. It's hard
Who's
to
on with the notes?
Jimmy
Who's on the
World
notes?
going slightly more.
Oh.
When did Clarity come out?
Clarity was in 97.
Maybe it's them.
Their fault.
Because their Static Prevails came out in 96.
Mhm.
Which that's the one. Isn't that the one where the other guy sings like
Yeah.
the whole record?
Yeah, Jimmy, right? The main guy's named Jimmy?
He is the.
He is the world eater.
He is the Jimmy. He is the eponymous. I think he goes by James, but
He's the Jimmy in Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
Oh man, and on 97 had that Get Up Kids album, which they have their, well, no, see, I'm doing bad. Never mind. That's not 96. Stick with the program. Stick with the program. Just that. The Get Up Kids had the self-titled EP that was a little bit more like a sweeter, like a more of an emo bittersweet sound. I think it's a self-titled EP.
Yeah, so the 4 Minute Mile was 97, right?
Yeah, that was 97. But they had, like, before they changed their sound a lot. I think kind of right around 4 Minute Mile. Maybe not.
4 Minute Mile is a little grittier.
They had like a sweeter sound. They had like just a more kind of emo.
I mean, Something to Write Home About
I'm doing my quote fingers.
was in 99. There is an EP in between 4 Minute Mile and Something to Write Home About that I know what you mean.
Okay.
Is it Woodson? That's 97. Red Letter Day.
Oh man, I'm like scared to use my computer because I'm gonna drop you guys.
Well,
I'm trying to do this on my phone while also keeping the list up. Oh crap! And then so Get Up Kids. Oh gosh, what was the story? Get Up Kids and who else? And they went on to do Reggie and Full Effect. Do you guys know that band? Do you guys like Reggie and Full Effect?
I like some.
We discovered while recording that Sarah and I discovered that she and I and our drummer Thomas that we're playing with right now, we all like Reggie in Full Effect, and we're like, I knew we should be in a band. They're so cheesy, but I loved them.
What was is it Coalesce?
Yes, that's who it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's James Dewey's from Coalesce.
So some of the members of Coalesce and some of the members of Get Up Kids became Reggie in Full Effect, right? Is that how it went?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's insane to me.
It doesn't make any
that
sense.
makes no sense.
It's like going in the opposite direction of those other two bands.
Like all three of those bands don't have much in common except members. I feel.
Well, they did a split EP together too.
Yeah.
Which is such a weird.
Wait, all Gainesville kids? Is that why? It must be.
The Kansas City.
Kansas,
Oh.
Yeah.
They're both Kansas City bands.
That's what it is. Who I'm thinking of. I don't know what Get Up Kids EP I'm thinking of. So just forget I said anything.
Anything else before we actually move on to our record?
96.
Sublimes by Sublime.
Right. Of course.
I mean, when I was a young teenager, I listened to that garbage. So I'm not scared of the skeletons in my closet. That's fine.
Did you see people doing the recording? Like, someone had put together like a supercut of all these different people playing a really shitty guitar solo when he does in response to the I play the guitar like a motherfucking riot.
Totally looking this up. If you don't, you have to send this to me.
I'll try and find it.
Because I have to see this. I live for this stuff. God, that album blew up.
It was huge.
Why? So much bad music. And I mean, I listened to it, so who am I to judge? Because the other one on this was, it had Sublime, and then it also had Real Big Fish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Turn the radio off. And Less Than Jake had Losing Streak. And Goldfinger had the self-titled. Five Iron Frenzy, The Aquabat, Skank and Pickle, MU330. They all put out records.
There's tons of ska.
Suicide Machines. That
was during the whole swing thing too, so it kind of.
Yeah, like the Boss Tones kind of like went mainstream.
Yeah.
And so like then it dragged even more ska to like the main like on the radio and stuff. But these were the bands that were still playing like Warped Tour and stuff like that.
Warped Tour.
And I guess the biggest record, probably the most influential record that came out in 96 is, Dylan, you had a hot take about today. Weezer's Pinkerton came out in 96.
Really?
I just don't think it's good.
Okay, no. I am not a Weezer fan.
Thank you.
And I get a lot of shit for it. But no. That fucking Rivers, God, he has the most punchable face. I just want to punch his face. I hate him so much.
Yes, I have gone on record multiple times dismissing the beloved Pinkerton. It's forgettable. There's no good songs. Someone told me El Scorcho, and I'm sorry, Dave. I just don't like it.
I
like half of the Blue album.
That's the thing, but I thought that was like the big takeaway from a lot of people. Like they should have just stopped after the Blue album. I mean, everybody, you know all the songs, but that doesn't mean they're good. You can be catchy and crappy. That's okay. That's a thing.
I like the Blue album, but I don't really care about anything else. I mean, there's like 1-2 good songs on the Green album, maybe, but yeah. I'm not a Weezer fan.
Lungfish is on this list. Lungfish is good. I played in a band when I first learned guitar. I played in a band with a bunch of guys that were really, really, really fucking really good. And I had to learn how to play guitar real fast. And we did a cover set of Lungfish songs, which was nice because those are kind of easier on guitar because like a lot of them are just 2 chords back and forth for like 10 minutes. So
yeah,
that Sound and Time is a good album.
What were the circumstances where you were doing a set of Lungfish covers?
I think we did it. This was when I was in Secret Hospital. I think we did it for the Milestone Halloween show.
Okay.
A cover show. Yeah. Yeah. Why is that such a strange thing? Is Lungfish a strange thing? That was a strange band.
They're just like, they're not a household name, I guess. I'll say that.
I feel like all of my musical education when it comes to punk music has been just through situations like that, because like I said, I was not cool when I was younger, and I guess everything I know is like all the weird obscure shit like that.
Lungfish is not a bad band.
No, I think they're great. I love that album, but it is weird, but not as weird as, what was the one? Bloodthirsty Butchers, which again, you have to look that up on YouTube. They're so good. I was blown away. I went down a freaking rabbit hole of just Japanese bands from the 90s that were so good.
Did you watch any clips of Melt Banana? Because you should look up live footage of Melt Banana in the 90s. It's like mind blowing.
Is it? Because I did it. I
good.
know Banana, but I don't know why I didn't. I wonder why that didn't show up. No, it was bands I've never heard of.
Okay.
Like, at all. Just random bands.
Yeah, Melt Banana put out Scratcher's Ditch in 96. That's another one that we had. Okay, now let's really talk about our album.
You sure? Are you ready?
Are you sure
Yeah.
you don't want to talk about the 2 Bell and Sebastian records? Or the Modest Mouse record that came out in...
I liked Modest Mouse. I really did. I still do. I don't care.
like Modest Mouse.
I've had this conversation with our friend Corey, who's been on the show several times, about how I'm glad that I had a period where I listened to Modest Mouse, but I don't really need to listen to them now.
That is so true, because I cannot remember the last time I've been doing anything where I'm like, you know what? I feel like, yeah, let's do some Modest Mouse. That has never happened in probably like a decade or longer. Shit, now I'm probably gonna like listen to Modest Mouse on my drive in tomorrow.
That first record still holds up to me.
Really? I'm gonna try it tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. At the time, man, I loved it. It was great. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, we are here to talk about Refused, songs to fan the flames of discontent.
Bring your savage downfall.
So, I'll throw out some basics for those unfamiliar with Refused. Though I don't know why you'd be listening to this episode. They're from Umeå, Sweden. This is their second full-length album, and this is the one that came out right before The Shape of Punk to Come, which is a gigantic monster record, retroactively.
Was it retroactively?
It wasn't well regarded until they broke up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
before we get into all of that, I want to talk through this record.
Yeah.
Because this record lives in the shadow of that one.
It shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's really.
So this was released on Victory Records in the United States, Start Rec, which is Refused's own record label in Scandinavia, and then We Bite Records in Germany. Kind of like, and then Burning Heart reissued it in '97, which is part of why we wound up thinking it was a '97 album. The personnel on this record is David Sandstrom on drums, Dennis Lixin on vocals, John F. Bronstrom on guitar, and Christopher Steen on guitar and bass. Also, even though he wasn't a member of the band anymore, Magnus Bjorklund, aka Magnus Flagg, plays bass on this record as well. They're one of those bands that has the Spinal Tap syndrome and had like 12 bass players throughout their career.
Only the best ones go through members.
It was produced by Pelle Gunnerfelt. He has done a couple earlier Refused records, but he's also most notable for recording albums by Breach, The Helicopters, International Noise Conspiracy, which is a Refused project, Sahara Hot Nights, and The Hives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did those two big Hives records that like got radio play in the States.
Yeah.
They're Swedish too, right?
Yeah, all of those bands are Swedish.
Yeah. All of those bands are.
Yeah.
Man, told you guys. I don't know enough. Okay, school me. School me, baby.
Yeah, and I want to mention this here. So I don't know what was going on with Victory in 1996, because they released the kind of stuff you'd expect. They put out Earth Crisis, Gomorrah's Season Ends, Bloodlet's Ethnogen, there's a Warzone record. But then they also released a bunch of other Swedish hardcore records. So,
yeah, it's really weird that they're all in the Victory. I was looking at that myself, and do you know why? Are you gonna tell us?
I have no idea why. I guess I should have tried to look up why were there 4 Swedish hardcore records in '96 on Victory Records. There was Abinada. I don't know how to say that. Abinanda? Yeah. Which the guitarist of Refused played in. They put out a record, and then the Donuts, who were an all girl group.
Yes. I don't know a lot about them, but they excite me.
They're interesting. They're real dissonant.
I'm into it.
It's really cool.
They were also a straight edge band, which I guess is not surprising, because basically every hardcore band in Sweden came from Umeå, and they were all straight edge.
Really?
And a lot of them were vegan.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah,
that was a thing, though.
The story of Swedish hardcore is that it all Sweden was only doing crust punk forever, and then hardcore suddenly arrived at the same exact time, and in mid 90s, and so a ton of bands started all at one time, all in one scene.
It's funny if you filter this this chart that we use, if you put in limit the artists from Sweden, it's a lot of bands.
Really?
It's surprising. I was like, wow, I'd have never heard of most of these bands, but there's a huge scene.
So is hardcore kind of considered starting mainly in the U.S.? Do you guys know?
Yeah, for the most part.
It's interesting to hear other countries. I think that's why I really liked listening to the Japanese bands. It's just really interesting to hear their take on it, because it is a little different. You know what I mean? The Swedish sound is a little different than U.S. hardcore.
Yeah.
To me.
The way hardcore developed in other countries is interesting, because I feel like the UK went in a more crust direction, and Japanese hardcore kind of was crust, but it's also its own thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of crust and D-beat in Japan in the 80s, and then there's a lot of death rock too.
Yeah. In the US, I feel like it diversified more, and maybe that's just because of the geographical size of the United States and the distinct regions.
I think in like around this time too, I feel like everything was still kind of just under the same umbrella. You know what I mean? Like as far as punk hardcore, like it was still there. Maybe that was the thing in '98 that switched. It started each genre kind of started really just developing its own little tribe, so to speak.
We had someone come on the show a bunch of times. Paul, he talks about he runs Tor Johnson Records. He talks about how like back when he was first going to shows, there was a lot more overlap in the scenes. Like there's like a little bit of punk, a little bit of hardcore, a little bit of screamo.
Yeah.
Like, it may have been like the 2000s that kind of like
Switched.
Made it more insular. Like it just was like, oh, all the metal kids are over here, all the hardcore kids are over here. Punk didn't have anywhere to go for a while.
Which that fucking blows, because I love going to a show that has like a pretty diverse sound to it, because it keeps it interesting. You're not hearing the same sound for 4 bands in a row.
Have you ever been to like a hardcore festival or like a metalcore like 8-band bill?
No, not a metalcore 8-band bill.
Yeah, there was a lot of those back in the day. It's the worst. Because they all do the same exact same thing. I like hardcore and metalcore, but like I can't do 4 hours straight of chun 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 chun.
Yeah, you can only hear a China cymbal so many times.
Yep.
I like to ask our guest, why did you pick this record?
Okay, I didn't pick this record to start out with. Can I give that little preface?
Sure, yeah.
I wanted to talk about the big one, the big refused record, Shape of Punk to Come, but some asshole that you guys talked to previously stole 98, so I couldn't have that. Couldn't have my way. So we went with this one.
I don't remember who that is now.
What? Who talked about 98?
Yeah, I'm trying to think who the last time we talked who it was.
Forgot about them because they're a dick. No.
I hope it's like somebody like real wonderful.
Probably was.
All of our guests are wonderful.
It's true. It's true.
But
he's an asshole.
So I chose this just because I wanted to stick with the Refused, because they really just like kind of what I was saying earlier. Like I always am curious if it's about the album or if it's kind of a part of just where you are in life when you hear that album, like what your mental state is, all of that stuff. But first time I heard Refused at all was just like, where has this been all my life? Just the guitars and just the riffs they write and the vocals, all of it. It's just, I don't know. It like I started listening. This is so cheesy, but can you hear that? There's a guy running his engine outside my window.
Yeah, I hear it.
I really hate Mustangs. Anyway, I really do. When I listened to this album, I literally got butterflies because I got really excited to have another album like this. And I don't know why I never thought to go through the rest of their discography. I don't know why. I just always stuck with what I know. No,
This was new to you.
This was new to me. It was new. Yeah. Which
So
I don't know if that goes against,
No.
the rules.
The old way we used to do the show is most people hadn't even heard the record before. So
Oh.
yeah. We
No,
changed it for a good reason.
I like, yeah, I got butterflies because it was just like the first song started and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, we're doing this. This is a thing that's happening. It was just as good, if not better, which makes me very happy.
Well, that's Dylan. Why don't you
So
speak?
it has been many years since I've listened to this record. I got into Refused with Shape of Punk to Come first because I had seen it talked about a lot. New Noise was like an instant, just like that song will make you fall in love with them.
How could you not?
However briefly that might be, I totally understand why this band is not everyone's favorite band, because that record we can talk about another time. But
Wait, people don't like this band? That's terrible.
I think okay, well I guess we gotta do.
Yeah,
Shape
I wanna
Shape
know.
of Punk to Come is that one of those records that has so much hype that people will write it off. And I don't love Shape of Punk to Come. But when I listened to it, I really enjoyed it a lot. And so I dug a little deeper and I did go back and listen to this record. So I've always had it in my head that I like this record more.
Yeah.
But just for whatever reason, just kind of, I don't know, fell out of the habit of listening to them. Putting this record on again after so much time was thrilling. It's incredible.
It's so good.
I mean, just those first 3 songs.
They're so good.
Rather Be Dead. You're like, oh, fuck yeah. Just like, yeah, man, I'd rather be dead. Like, you just shredding your voice on that first song. I mean, and then Coup d'etat, the riff on that song.
Yes.
It just takes it to another level. And it doesn't stop. Hook, line, and sinker. It might be my favorite song on the whole record.
That one's the one that gets me. That's the one I returned to several times. I think I actually added it to a couple of playlists I have. That one's just, it's got a groove to it. I'm really upset to know that Shape of Punk to Come is a punk no-no album. It's the samples, isn't it? It's the samples.
I think it suffers from the like overhype. Like people talked about it in this like high regard for so long
Like
that
it's soul kind of thing.
It's the effect of what's a good comparison? In the Airplane Over the Sea.
Okay, got it.
An incredible record that I love dearly that I never ever need to hear a single song from again.
Oh man, I still listen to that album too.
And I totally get why people do. Like, it's great. Like, I genuinely loved it for a long time, and I listened to it too much. And it's just it comes back, and you hear those songs in so many places, in coffee shops, and
Yeah, that's true.
in between bands at shows, and
Yeah.
with the Shape of Punk to Come, I think part of it too became this like AP mag for a long time would be like the one cool punk record that they would talk about as like, yeah, and this one's great classic, and like it was always that record, not like other stuff similar to it, or even this Refused record.
Man, I discovered that album in college when I was going to VCU in Richmond. I just went to a friend's apartment and they were playing it and they were doing the air guitar like you know what I mean? And I walked in and it was just like I didn't know anything about them. Like I said, I was not cool. And it just like I don't know. But what I will say, this album that we're talking about, I like it more because it feels less polished. And going back to like what we were talking about earlier, I like a less polished sound.
Yeah, this record is it's very raw sounding. It's got this really cool guitar tone.
Oh God, that is the guitar tone. I think the guitar tone and the vocals are just like what fucking does it for me.
yeah,
So like
it's got.
Go ahead.
His voice is like Velcro ripping.
Mm-hmm.
It's just.
And I watched like I was I think talking about before we started recording, I watched a couple of live videos of them, and there was a recent one, and he still kind of has it. I mean, he still can do it. It's a little lower, his register, but he still can do it.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? I lost it. Anyway.
Sorry.
I was gonna say that this record was kind of a change in sound for them. So their first album is This Just Might Be the Truth. Came out in '94, I believe, and it's more of kind of your standard like U.S. hardcore for the time from the time. So it's very similar to like Earth Crisis or something like that. And then they've had a lot of lineup changes throughout the years, and this record added John to the group, or Jan, since they're Scandinavian.
Can we just call him Jan?
Jan.
Like better.
Jan, he joined on the EP before, and then this is his first record. And I have a theory that Jan is the reason why these records sound like they do, or are as good as they are. So, like, and I kind of tested this theory out. So, trying to follow along here, to test this theory out, I checked out some of the other records that the other members, like Chris and John, were in before Refused. So I listened to the first Refused record, and I was like, okay, this is fine. Standard US stuff. Then I listened to Senseless, which is the first Abinada record that Chris is on. And I was like, oh, this is a little better than that first Refused record. I see it's still kind of more standard hardcore. And then I listened to his first EP, Everlasting, with Refused. And it was a pretty big improvement from that first record to the next EP. So then I checked out Jan's band, Purasam. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Right. And I can 100% see that is where Refused new sound comes from. Because those guitars on this record are in that band too.
I'll have to check that out.
That band is a little more metallic, and like the songwriting isn't quite as strong as this record, but it's the sound, like it's right there. And then I double checked it later. I was like, okay, let me look at the records that they did when they came back in 2015, like Freedom and War Music, and they did those without Jan, and they're not very good.
I listened to Freedom when it came out, and
I have theories on that. I don't think it has anything to do with Jan. I think they just need to not.
It just doesn't need to be called Refused.
Oh God, the video I watched, they were like, because they're big, I guess, and there was like a stadium rock show, and oh God, it was just depressing for me. I don't like seeing bands like that. I'm not a stadium rock person, like I like to see bands in small, intimate settings.
Yeah, and it's like probably a European festival too, right?
I think it was. It was definitely
Sweden.
It was big. They were huge. Everybody was into them, and they seemed very into themselves. Maybe that's what it was too.
Yeah, I think they bought their own hype.
Yeah,
I know, and it sucked. And I didn't. I was so naive to it, and thanks to you two, I no longer am. So thanks.
Well, it's the story of Refused downfall is they made Shape of Punk to come with a lot of aspiration. They borrowed liberally
Whoa.
from some other places. But
very, very politically spoken.
I do think that they did it in a way that was creative and was original. I do think they should have done a different album cover. Yeah. That's the one that makes me mad.
A different album cover?
So they basically completely copied a 7-inch by a band called Rye Coalition, who were
I've seen
a big influence on Refused.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. I never even thought about that.
And I see how it fits in their, they took the name of their record from an Ornette Coleman record, and they're doing like a Nation of Ulysses kind of rock and roll baby thing. And I think that the way they blended that into the big beat dance electro sound, and they did something different that was creative, and I respect a lot. But then they came to the US and they were not the big hits that they were expecting to be.
The whole the electronic dance stuff that they have in between, I don't like that. That's like the part of that I really don't like, and it makes me embarrassed for them.
How embarrassing for you.
I know that they really, like, that really burns them to hear me, Susan Plant, saying, I'm disappointed in you.
Now, when's Faye playing their arena tour?
Jesus Christ. Never. Never. Actually, I can't say that. Actually, they make good money. Yeah. We'll do that.
I wouldn't take down. I wouldn't refuse refused money.
Oh. Okay. Man, I never thought about the fact that they got a lot of influence from Riot Coalition, but that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
I was trying to figure out like who else sounded like them besides like all the Swedish bands that just copied them specifically.
Yeah.
Like when we first started chatting, I asked you if you'd heard of a band called Blindside, and the reason why I asked that is because their very first 2 records are just straight up refused copies.
Yeah.
So if you love this record, you might love Blindside's "A Thought Crushed My Mind" because it sounds exactly like this record.
Well, why don't I just listen to this record? No, I'm kidding. I'll check them out.
I mean, yeah, that's the real answer.
Yeah, I mean, we grew up listening to Blindside, and they're a very, very important band to our development of our taste in hardcore. But if I had to choose one to get rid of, like, I'll get rid of the most derivative one,
which is
the Blindside record. I mean, Songs to Fan the Flames of Discontent is a really, really, really great record. To answer your question, Justin, I think they sound a lot like Snapcase.
That's what I was going to say.
What? Really?
And this
Snapcase
record came out before the big Snapcase record.
Oh, I don't hear that at all. That's so interesting.
I hear it in the guitars, and
it's in the
drums too, right?
It's the rhythm. I mean,
yeah, because it does. They have that like choppy, I guess is how you say those riffs, and then like the drums kind of like punctuate between each riff pretty strongly. They both do that a lot.
Kind of angular sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's that kind of like off center and like a couple of odd counts on certain riffs,
which I love.
Yeah, the record is super groovy. You just nod your head the whole time.
You do. But it does have like interesting time signatures and stuff, which I don't count, so I don't know. But it sounds interesting. It sounded like I knew what I was talking about. So.
Yeah, and then there's who else put out records in '96? At the Drive-In put out their first album. What is that record called? Tenement Acrobatic, and I think At the Drive-In borrows a little bit from.
Yeah, I could hear that angular sound again.
And then,
but they've got, oh God, what's his face? Why can't I think of the name? The singer At the Drive-In.
Diedrich.
Yeah.
Yeah, his vocals are another thing entirely.
Yep.
It's more like if Refused were doing like a Nation of Ulysses thing. I feel like At the Drive-In was doing like a Shudder to Think.
Oh my gosh. Shudder to think. That band. So, my husband is a huge Shudder to Think fan. And when I was trying to woo him forever ago,
You pretended to like Shudder to Think.
I put on my social media account that was one of the bands I liked. I hate that band, and I swear that's like the most influential band for him. And every year there's like that one, and he's like, "Look, come on, Pony Express, let's do it." And I'm like, I can't get past the vocals. Vocals are such a thing for me that make or break a band. I can't get past the vocals. If you sound like a bleeding goat, I can't listen to you. I'm sure you guys like Shudder to Think, right?
So I like Shudder to Think, but I don't listen to them a lot.
Ken,
and I am like,
a whole album of that. Good God.
no. It's very difficult to finish an entire record by them.
Yeah.
He does have like one of the weirdest voices in punk and hardcore stuff.
I mean, as musicians and his vocals and everything, total fucking respect for what they pull off. I just can't listen to it, you know. I just can't. I cannot. So that band.
I was gonna say too, Frotus put out their F letter, and Dylan, you're a big Frotus fan. What is there's a lot of like comparisons between the two of them. What is that? Because they just have similar source influences?
There's a lot of overlapping influence of DC hardcore, post-hardcore. Frotus also played with Refused a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They went and toured with them in Sweden.
I want to tour Sweden.
Yeah, I do too. I want to go anywhere. I want to go literally anywhere right now.
I was just sitting on my front porch talking about that and like trying to determine if there's any place within driving distance that's worth going to. And it's like Kentucky? I don't know. And there's literally nowhere.
Yeah, I was like, what states have who are handling it the best or have the least amount of cases? Maybe I can go there.
Yeah, definitely not going further south. That's for sure.
Let's go to Montana.
Ooh.
Or Idaho.
Ooh. Idaho looks beautiful. I would do that. It's a long drive.
Yeah, that's the other part. How are you going to get there?
Yeah, Idaho's even a long drive for me.
Yeah.
Wait, because you're in Arizona, right?
I'm in Arizona.
How far is it from you?
Over 15 hours to Idaho, I think.
So good for us.
It's probably like 26 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a 3-day drive.
I don't know. I'd say more like 30.
Yeah. I mean, it was a 3-day drive to Arizona, so.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. I got it.
Clearly none of us got to see Refused because we were probably children whenever they broke up.
Yeah, I was 6 when this record came out.
Oh my God. Babies.
I'm about to turn 34 this year, so I was a little young to be going to see Refused in 96.
I just didn't listen to anything cool until I was I shouldn't say I didn't listen to anything cool. I didn't really get into, hardcore and post-hardcore and all of that stuff till I was in college. Because I was in Richmond, and I feel like, you live in Richmond, you're going to school in Richmond, that is kind of a prerequisite. You have to.
Yeah. When were you in Richmond? 2000, early 2000s?
Yeah, late 90s, 2000s.
There was some really cool stuff going on in Richmond then too.
It was pretty wild. It was pretty fun.
I mean, there's still cool stuff going on there now too, but
yeah,
there was some big stuff going on then. Richmond was a pretty big scene for a while.
It's still a decent scene.
It feels more like just the bands tend to stay to the scene, but yeah, there's a lot of activity in that scene.
It was fun. There was a lot of awesome places to see shows, like house shows and everything, and just a lot of great bands. And I mean, since you're so close to DC, like a lot of the DC hardcore and stuff, there's a lot of kinship there, which it's really interesting to me depending on where you grow up, like what I feel like when I moved down to Charlotte, a lot of people were more into like the I guess like the Atlanta type of stuff. Is it Atlanta? Nobody's saying anything.
I don't know. I don't know who you're thinking. I don't know who you're thinking of. Probably more like Gainesville stuff, the Florida stuff.
I don't know, but I was like being closer to DC, I knew more of that stuff than like Archers of Loath, like that kind of scene.
Oh yeah, like the Chapel Hill stuff.
Chapel Hills, yeah.
Yeah, Richmond has kind of like the vibe of like part DC, part Gainesville, part Chapel Hill. It's kind of like a neat little like combination of things.
It's still like that, kind of.
Yeah. The reason why I say I've never seen Refused is that I have seen Comadre cover Refused at one of those Fest 7 house shows. You can actually watch it on YouTube, too. Comadre did an entire Refused cover set. And it's one of the craziest house shows I have ever been to in my entire life. People should look up the video footage of that, because it is insanely packed full of people, and every single person is just singing along with New Noise. They start the set off with New Noise, and it exploded.
That would be fun. It would be fun to see it like that. Like, even if it was, being covered, that would be a hell of a lot of fun.
Comadre's the perfect band.
Yeah.
Refused did break up.
Right.
In
North Carolina?
They played their last show at North Carolina. I think it's either North Carolina or Virginia. That's where they played their last show. On tour with Protus.
Again, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I will not see them now.
No.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. If you can't see a band in their prime, it's just not worth it. I think. I don't know.
I think it depends on the band or how much they meant to you, or what the revival is like. I wouldn't want to see Refused now at all.
Don't watch that video. It'll ruin it. Well, it ruined it for me. You guys knew more than I did.
I don't want to see them play their new stuff.
No, they were doing stuff from Shape of Punk to Come. It was just like, I don't know. I always call it like McCartneying stuff. Like, it's a verb. Like, Paul McCartney still plays all the old Beatles songs, but you could tell he's so sick of doing them, and he just like decides to take liberties with it. It was kind of like that, where it's like, oh, stop doing this, doing it. No,
we're gonna improve it.
No.
See, what I really meant to do then was,
and they can do all that because the guy who was on those records isn't in the band anymore.
I know. What he should have done was this long solo.
This needs more ooh babies.
Oh God.
Do you have a favorite song on this record?
I want to see them. I want to see Dennis do like a Robert Plant, like extended vocal, just O and O and O.
Were you asking me if I had a favorite?
Yeah, I was just kind of throwing it out to everyone. Does anyone have a favorite song on the record?
The Hook, Line, and Sinker was the one that did it for me.
I have to agree with that one.
Done did it for me.
I think I like Coup d'etat better. But at the very end of not the very, very end, but like the second to last track, Last Minute Pointer, I was like, this song is really good. Like, it's one of those ones where it's like, oh yeah, even though the record's almost over, here's another amazing song. Like,
I appreciate an album that all the songs like flow so well together that it just feels like an entire just perfect album. And this is kind of like that for me, at least. Like, but Hook, Line, and Sinker just has a nice little. I don't know. That one did it for me.
That's all it's we
what is it? It's Not Okay and Crusader of Hopelessness. Are those two songs meant to sound so similar to each other? Are they one of those ones where they just kind of like lead right into each other? Because I feel like I was listening to it and I was trying to keep track of each track as I was listening, and then like it went to Crusader of Hopelessness, and I was like, wait, that song didn't end before. I don't know.
I mean, It's Not Okay is a minute long.
Yeah.
They do have an ellipses after It's Not Okay, so I think they were trying to let you know that they're going to go into the next song. This is a precursor. It's an amuse-bouche.
It had very similar riffs. I think it's probably intended. It's probably like lyrically different, and that's why it's a separate track. But it was maybe meant to be, kind of one. I bet you they play them back to back live.
I wonder if they had those two songs and they were just like, these are so similar. We need to just kind of push them together and act like we did this on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, just own it.
Yeah.
Instead of splitting them up.
Did y'all like the Slayer tribute at the end of the record?
Yes. Very much so.
They do it's like it's a faster paced song. They do like almost the Rain and Blood style like breakdown, and then it even has like rain sound effects in it. I was like, oh, okay. They did cite Slayer as a huge influence on this record.
Really?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, there's a metallic edge to a lot of those riffs.
That tone though, that guitar tone, man. I wish I could. I need to figure out more stuff with like pedals and stuff so I can get this tone of the guitars on this, because it's so fucking good on this whole album.
I'm wondering. I bet it's just like a cranked Marshall.
Yeah, probably.
I'm sure that's all it is.
It has a weird
people who actually like,
which
really
is such
play.
Yeah, it sucks that you have to invest in a Marshall stack to get that sound perfectly.
I have an old vintage, like, I think I have an old vintage acoustic head, like from, I think it's like a 68, 69 acoustic head. That's a guitar head. Every time we go to shows, well, not every time. There's been a couple of sound guys who have thought that was Sarah's gear because she's the bassist, and I have to tell them that no, that's mine, but I would never trade up to a Marshall stack because I love this little solid state head. It's great.
Yeah, those are good amps.
I'm looking at it right now, lovingly.
Yeah, I'm not a gearhead at all, so.
I'm not really. I like a good solid state. The old solid state amps are just great. Sorry, this is not about albums. It's not why we're here.
Well, the reason why I say that is because Dylan and I were in a hardcore band together, and my approach to gear and like even playing, I was just I'm not really I played bass in the hardcore band, and I'm not really a bassist at all or a musician at all. I basically just played bass in the band, and it was just consisted of me being like, all right, what am I playing, and what am I playing through? Like, because I don't know anything.
You played through the Carvin amp that I bought.
Yeah.
With the bass that you got for free.
Yeah.
That's very, like, Fugazi of you, though. Fugazi just plugged and played, right? Didn't they just, like, plug in and play?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like Ian MacKaye, so...
Yeah?
I'm basically Joe Lally, you know?
Oh, God, no.
You know, if I had a nickel for every time I get compared to Guy, it's just...
Yeah, no, I don't, I'm not, what do you call that? I'm not, conditioned? That's not the right word. Practiced? No, that's not either.
To be a gearhead?
To play an instrument.
Dedicated?
Well, clearly you can, because you're in a band, so clearly you can.
Well, I also haven't played it since that band broke up, so.
Really? Man, when I was little, I remember seeing, like, I don't even know what it was, some show, and they had, like, music hour where they had all these instruments laid out for the little kids to play, and I was obsessed with it. And I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to have a room that's just filled with instruments for me to play whenever I wanted. And I'm slowly getting there.
Yeah, I don't know. I always wanted to be in a band, but then I never wanted to do the things that you needed to do to, like, be in a good band, so.
like practice.
Yeah. On my own, like besides just being like, all right, we're having band practice today. I never practiced on my
You didn't practice for practice?
Yeah,
God,
no.
practice for practice.
Yeah, he was definitely a show up and occasionally have to relearn parts.
Hey, I was playing bass in a hardcore band where I played open E most of the time, so I didn't have to learn anything.
I wish I had it like that when I started.
We have a younger brother. He's 17 and he plays piano now.
Yeah.
And he at his Christmas recital performed Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's
the whole thing too, not just the beginning part.
Kind of amazing.
And I was like, well, it's like we went down, like the musical talent went downhill. So like Dylan's better than I am, and then our younger brother is even. I mean, I don't know. He's playing piano pretty well, so we'll see how far that takes him. But he's doing better at 17 than we were. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Me playing guitar at 17 was
the same Mastodon riff over and over
It
again.
was the one Mastodon riff that I learned. And like probably like a Living Sacrifice or like an Agony Scene riff.
I never picked up a guitar until well, let's see. What did you say the EP came out? 2016, so 2015.
Oh wow.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we finished that, and I was like, oh God, was that like everything I had built up in me that we wrote like over all of these years, and now I have to write more songs? Is that going to be possible? But it was.
Well, I guess we're done with Refused.
You can talk more. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
out of stuff to really talk about with them. So
I do have to dip out kind of soon too.
yeah, I mean we're what are we at? We're probably at an hour and a half right now, anyway. So yeah, an hour 26. So we should go ahead and start wrapping it up.
Okay.
Yeah, we recommend listening to this record, especially if you listen to New Noise or not New Noise. If you've listened to Shape of Punk to Come and you like it, give this one a try too, because you might like it even more.
Yeah, I thought about sending this record to the other guys from our old hardcore band, and saying like, if you write me stuff like this, I will blow out my voice for you. Like I will just scream so hard.
I so wish I could scream, but I have asthma.
Oh, I do too.
Do you? And you can
Yeah.
do it? Because I've tried, and I like literally have an asthma attack.
It's been many years since I've done a full set of screaming, so I'm not sure I could make it very far. But
I did attempt to sing for an Iron Maiden cover band once. That was interesting. I kind of almost pulled it off, but I did blow out my voice.
That's hard to do too, like that style of singing.
I mean, it was a thing. It was a thing that never left a practice space, which is a very good thing. But no, both Sarah and I both have asthma, and we were like, we should have found a drummer that had asthma too. Actually, I think everyone pretty much just has asthma now. So
everyone's going to.
I mean, that's the direction we're heading.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club, losers.
Yeah. Enjoy your permanent organ damage.
That's awful. And I'm laughing.
You have to.
You know.
It's either laugh or cry.
Yeah. Whew. It's too easy to do that too. So.
Yep.
Yeah. We talked about the Instagram live shows.
Yeah.
Earlier, and that was it. I can't watch those.
Do you feel awkward for the people? Is that why?
It's just too sad.
It really.
It's like this is the wrong way to do it. This is not how this music was intended to be heard.
So my sister said she loves it because she could just be like sitting on her couch watching music, and it's just.
Now I did see someone say that they hope that live streaming shows continues when it goes back to being live in-person shows, because it's the only way for a lot of people with disabilities to comfortably enjoy live music, or at least it's the best way for them to.
That's actually a really good point.
And I wanted to reiterate that, and because that's something I have thought about in the past too. Like,
Yeah.
live music is not good for a lot of people.
Especially in this kind of scene where you have a lot of house shows and stuff like that. Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
much of punk music, right, is the live experience.
Right.
So we should make that even more inclusive.
Right.
People aren't going to stay home and watch. Not everyone is going to stay home. You're not going to lose your money.
Well, even if you charge for a stream too, like Lucero did this like live stream where you paid like $10-15 and you got to watch like this like super well recorded live stream of their set.
There's been a couple like little festivals like that too, I've noticed.
Mm-hmm. So it's a cool way. And then I don't know, I feel like there's a possibility that like some bands could do even better, especially if they got a cut of that stream. If it's like, man, look at this stacked bill. Oh, it's happening in Montana, or something
Yeah.
something that you
As long as
can't.
could still have like live streams wouldn't bother me if there's still the interaction between people watching and the band, because that's where the magic happens. But
Right.
it is. That's like that symbiotic relationship is so important to live music, I think. I mean, that's like the band does something and the audience responds, not like subconsciously, and I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, I prefer seeing music in a live setting, and when real shows come back, or fully live in-person shows come back, I shouldn't say real shows.
Yes, they will.
I will gladly go to them and will prefer to go to them.
I'll probably go to more of them.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, yeah, I'd like to go to that, but it's a Tuesday.
No, that's me. That is 100% me.
Yeah, that's me.
And I think that's a lot of people, though. I mean, in the 90s and early 2000s, you didn't have like the level of, well, we were all young too, but I think it was different. There wasn't as much to do or watch. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I have, a lifetime worth of shit on Netflix I can watch.
Yeah.
So the only thing, and you didn't have the internet really, so the only thing you could do is go to shows to find like-minded people in that scene, which I think is what made it flourish like it did. And now it's this kind of interesting hybrid where we're at now, where it's like almost feels a little bit like that again with the, the virtual shows and kind of more of a DIY feel again. But it's all online. It's so strange. Sorry, I just went on a little tangent right there.
No, it's true. I feel like, I mean, because we kind of have to, do this socially distanced thing, I feel like I'm interacting with more people online than I was before. So part of it is why you have to, but at the same time, the internet's making it so I'm like, well, I can just like chat with this musician or this other podcaster we did an episode with, like halfway around the world, just super easy, and not have to like leave the house and then be like at a show and like trying to talk to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be that guy.
Let me in the circle.
Yeah.
No, just don't talk to me while the band's playing. I'm so mean. But it's like, I can't hear you. I do it too. We all do it. But it's like, why? We can't hear each other, and yet we all try to tell somebody something while the band is playing. Everybody does it.
We do that thing where you just like, you pretend like you heard and you just like smile and nod.
Yeah, like, yeah, man, yeah, totally. Didn't hear a fucking word you said.
I'm usually the one going, what? What?
Well, where can everyone follow Faye and online, all that kind of good stuff?
We are on Twitter, Faye is a band at Twitter, and we're on Spotify. I believe we're still on Spotify. I think that's still linked. That was through Tiny Engine, so who knows? We're on Instagram, Faye, Faye is band, on all of the social media stuff. I'll be truthful and say I'm the one that ends up doing a lot of that stuff, and I'm not very great about social media, but it'll probably pick back up once we start getting this album to come out. So
yeah, I'm excited to hear it. I can't.
It's different. I'm really excited. I'm chomping at the bits to get it out. It's a lot It's heavier than the.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it'll be good. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Coming out on Merge now. Nah.
Heard it here first. We're gonna at Merch. We're gonna get you signed.
Oh God.
I mean, Merch puts out some like.
You could do that when you interview Sarah. She's much more knowledgeable than me.
And then we're on all the social medias as well at Punklotopod, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Facebook is basically the same thing as Instagram, so don't expect much action if you message me on there, especially to check out your band's your
pop punk band's new EP.
Yeah. My favorite is we get like follow-up emails now too. Like we're like, just making sure you got the last email. It's like, yeah, I got it. That's why I didn't respond.
Bad look. That's not bad look.
You should tell people about the recent one that we've got in follow-up emails about their book. Because they're not listening, clearly.
No. They clearly did not listen to the show, or else they would have sent us that email. Let me pull it up real quick.
Oh my God, I'm trying to remember. I had a good one too, but you go first.
It's so weird. It's like, why? Here we go. We got an email from the Godspeed Publicity Group. For immediate release, Cold bassist Lindsay Manfredi released her debut book, Unfuckwithable, A Guide to Inspired Badassery. Do you remember the band Cold?
No.
So they were like a new metal band in the early 2000s. Kind of like Stained.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
No.
So then I got a follow-up email saying, it's Friday. Just wanted to follow up on my news from last week with Cold Lindsay Manfredi's new book, Unfuckwithable, Guide to Inspired Badassery. I'd love to set up some coverage. I thought it'd be up your alley. It's like, what made you think it was up my alley? Like, we don't cover anything remotely like that.
Oh, God. Man, I wish I could find it. We had some crazy... Oh, God, I can't find it. And I tried to convince Sarah to come and secretly sit in here with me to feed me information, but she said that was cheating. We got some weird, like an influencer woman. I'll have to find it and send it.
They want to collaborate.
They wrote a song. I'm doing air quotes. They wrote a song, and they had a couple of songs, and they were touring. But it was like, oh God, I don't even know how to, like not Pamela Anderson, like Anna Nicole Smith style. Like, I don't know. It was fucking insane. And I wanted to do that. I think Sarah and I both, we couldn't do it for some reason. We wanted to do that show. Like, they wanted us to open. It was so tragic and awful. We wanted it so bad. I'll have to find it. I'll have to ask Sarah who the lady was so you guys can watch it on YouTube. It was unbelievable.
Then I also got this email. Now we're just talking about weird emails we're getting.
Send us weird emails.
That was like this guy. It was called like Playlist Inquiry Partnership, and he said, "I discovered some of your Spotify playlists while browsing through the platform." And I was like, "Oh, that makes you sound like a human." I work with Raj Beats, and we have been looking to connect with some new playlist curators that we can build with long term. And so then it just keeps talking, and then at the very end, it's like, we have our own records, a growing independent catalog ranging from hip-hop to R&B to Latin trap / reggaeton and general pop songs. And I was like, why are you emailing me?
Did you even look at the title? Like, what?
And then he followed up and did the same thing. Hey, just wanted to make sure you got this. Looking forward to hearing back. It's like, stop it. It's weird. It's like people will find an email address and then just start emailing stuff to it. It's like, does that work for anybody?
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
1 in a million. I'd love to know if. I mean, it'd be impossible to.
You should just like. We could totally take them down a rabbit hole one time and just be like, oh yeah. Really
should we get the bassist from Cold to come on our show?
Yeah, I think you should. Let's do it. I think you should do it.
See if she'll play the game the way we have it set up.
Yeah, no.
What? I just want to talk about my book.
Yeah. Oh, no. You have to make them, because, I mean, I looked through that. All right, so.
We made you do it. We got to make everyone do it.
Okay, real talk. And through the list of bands, like the list of albums for, I guess it was 97, and I was having trouble deciding and everything. And I said to Sarah, I should just pick the most obscure, horrible sounding thing on this list just to make you guys listen to it. Just to sabotage. But I didn't. She tried to convince me to. Chaos.
We've done some duds.
Yeah. We used to be, so the way the show used to work is that we would use like that list same thing that we had, the same chart thing, and use a number generator and then just pick.
Oh,
one.
man.
And we wound up cheating so often that we were just like, I don't want to talk about this Slavic grindcore band. Let's just find something on this page that we've heard of.
So that's pretty much like what I was looking at, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then I was like, but I don't want to listen to that. So
yeah. That's why we quit doing it that way.
And well, and having guests on, it was like, there's no way we're gonna get anyone to agree to be on this show and make them listen to something like absolutely terrible and make them talk about it.
Oh, but it could be fun.
Yeah, it wasn't that fun.
In retrospect, I should have picked Real Big Fish. You're right. That's what I should have picked for us.
Well, we would have bumped your episode to August.
Yeah, because we're doing a theme month called Skagist, where we're going to talk only about ska records. So
we might only end up doing like 2 episodes, but yeah.
Right. But
what ska records? Like
we don't know yet.
Ska, like the old school stuff.
Whatever our guests feel like, I guess. We'll find out.
Chat about the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
We've actually done the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones before.
Not a good one.
Yeah, it was the one after the impression that I get.
Now that song is going to be stuck in my head. So.
Oh yeah, it's one of those songs that if you just say the name of the song, it gets stuck in your head.
Yep.
We should wrap this up. Susan, Thank you so much for doing the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll have links to all your stuff in the show notes. So that'll be it for everybody. We'll talk to you all next week.